I think act like a human, think like a brand is a mind state shift, right? I think a lot of things have brought us to where we are, including the change in consumer profile, including the change in spending habits, including the proliferation of technology. And in order for any business to survive in the future, I believe that the core starting point is for them to adopt more human-like the persona and approach to enterprise. So if you're going to act like a human at your core, it means that things like empathy become really important to how you approach business, how you approach problems, and how you approach the markets that you hope to serve. And in acting like a human, from a marketing context anyway, you can take some of that empathy and translate that into real value for a business. Ultimately, as I said in the presentation, we are all in this for commercial enterprise and commercial gain. So the think like a brand piece has to follow the human representation of your business. And I think if at a high level there's an adoption and an appreciation of the humanity in any business, it makes it a more future fit and more sustainable endeavor. We do know that the statistics aren't really encouraging around what we're able to achieve from impacting African lives in sub-Saharan Africa. So I think it is actually it's not an option. We really have to bake that into our business models. And my hope and my dream is that one day it actually becomes the way of doing business as opposed to kind of a new area developing.
In your presentation, you talked about transformation, or the lack thereof in this industry. You said it's not a promising picture at the moment. What do you believe needs to be done by those stakeholders in this industry? And why do you think it's been so slow to transform?
Yeah, I think, quite right. It's not a promising picture right now. Simply because the MAC chart has been around for the past 5 to 7 years, if I remember correctly. And if you look at the rate of transformation in relation to the targets they set, it's very far off. Now, I refer to what I call the inner circle and the outer circle in my presentation. And the inner circle, who I have a lot of respect and empathy for, are people who have built enterprise businesses in advertising, marketing, media spaces, which I think is great. And being in the inner circle and being an entrepreneur, it's very difficult to kind of succumb to all of a sudden overnight you have to hand over equity. And I think that's a prevailing notion around transformation. I think the starting point is that it seems to be a process of giving away the value that you've created as opposed to creating more value for more shared benefit. So I think the first standpoint is that the mentality around this giving away versus building needs to change. I quote a Nigerian proverb that speaks about in times of crisis, the wise build bridges and the fools build dams. And in the time of crisis now in our industry, it's the most important for what I call the inner circle to build the bridges into more diverse environments, more diverse executive groups, more diverse understandings of the markets that they serve. And I think that's one of the first steps to being able to ensure that your business is able to be sustainable. The second thing is obviously what I call the outer circle, which typically are the people that may get frustrated by being in an industry for a while, having the skill set potentially, and not necessarily seeing the opportunities translate for them. And I really implore that group of people to work hard to create value and to focus on creating value. And in so doing, I think the conversations need to be robust by the people that straddle between the inner circle and the outer circle, who I call gatekeepers. And they need to be able to hold both kind of groups accountable. The inner circle needs to be able to kind of hold the mirror up and say, do I understand the importance of transformation and diversity? Because up till now, my experience has been that it's a tick box exercise, number one. Number two, that it's okay to hack your way to diversity, right? So you'll set up a trust and you'll have your nanny and the maid, and there'll be your 51% shareholders in your business, and that's been okay, which is wrong. And so we need to have that open conversation, and it should be had in the nature of building as opposed to the nature of kind of hitting people over the head with a stick. But until we're able to sit down and have that conversation, we won't see the transformation happen, unfortunately.